Irish folklore is surely some of the most unique and fascinating in the world. Stories, myths, and legends vary in their characters and content. Mood as well can vary, with some stories darker than others. One of the darker stories in Irish and, more broadly, Celtic folklore is that of the Pooka, also written Pooka, Pooka, phouka. A sort of animal spirit or goblin shapeshifter of dubious intentions. The meaning of Pooka, pronounced Puka, is from the Old Irish word, Pooka, which means goblin. Stories vary in terms of the Pooka's designs, and they are thought to bring both good and bad fortune, depending on their mood. Pooka are shape-shifting troublemakers. Legends say that the Pooka can change into horses, goats, cats, donkeys, bulls, dogs, foxes, wolves, and hares, though always with jet black fur. Horses bearing sleek coats, wild manes, and flaming eyes are the most common animal shape of these mischievous fairies. When in human form, these fairies still bear animalistic characteristics. Though stories about the Pooka are vague and varied, one common similarity is the Pooka's love of mischief. Mischief can take many forms, but one favorite with the Pooka seems to be taking their preferred animal form of a great black horse and enticing the unwitting rider on its back for a wild and terrible horseback ride through the night. Usually, this person has been on the drink, and even if they haven't, the Pooka bewitches them, leaving them with a bad feeling and hazy recollections of a night poorly spent. As you can imagine, that would frighten anyone, though little actual harm is done. Sometimes the Pooka can serve as a protective entity, helping farmers with the crops, offering presents, or intervening ahead of a terrible accident to prevent harm. Though stories of kindly Pooka are much overshadowed by those of mischief, bad luck, or even doom. Then again, there are some stories darker still, calling the creatures bloodthirsty and accusing the Pooka of being evil creatures that hunted and killed humans. It seems the stories are as varied as the Pooka themselves. Most accounts of Irish folklore primarily describe the Pooka as a shapeshifter creature capable of assuming various forms. There are also some accounts of it being a creature with a dark and mysterious presence, but not its authentic form. The only and most common trait mentioned on accounts of the Pooka that could indicate its authentic form is the eyes. Some legends describe the Pooka with bright, fiery eyes that glow like candles in the darkness. The glowing eyes of the Pooka make it seem eerie and mystical, especially in the dark or dimly lit places. Beyond this common element, descriptions of the Pooka's actual form tend to be sparse and ambiguous in traditional Irish folklore. Different stories and regions might emphasize distinct aspects of the creature, but the glowing eyes remain a relatively consistent characteristic. The mystery surrounding the Pooka's genuine appearance adds to its mystique in Irish folklore, emphasizing its elusive and enigmatic nature. The Pooka lives in rural areas, particularly in open mountainous regions where it can roam freely, especially in its horse form. It tends to inhabit Ireland's most remote and secluded places, such as hills, mountains, and bogs. Specific locations in Ireland, such as the Wicklow Mountains, have notable connections to the Pooka. The Liffey River in the Wicklow Mountains is an example. The river has carved out a waterfall, which locals know as phouka, meaning the Pooka's hole. In County Fermanagh, the top of Binlochlan Mountain is recognized as the peak of the sneaking horse. Thousands of years ago, people used to refer to St. Patrick Wells as Pooka pools. Christians eventually changed their name. People usually associate it with gray autumn days, misty dawns, and murky dusks, creating an eerie aura around its presence. People often encounter the Pooka at night when they leave a pub and venture into the cold darkness of October. The origins of the Irish Pooka are deeply rooted in Celtic mythology and Irish folklore. The creature has a long history in Irish storytelling, dating back centuries. In ancient Celtic traditions, spirits and mythical beings were a significant element of their belief system. Hence, these creatures often played central roles in people's lives and beliefs. The concept of shape-shifting creatures like the Pooka is not unique to Irish mythology. We can find mentions of it in various cultures worldwide. However, the specific characteristics and stories associated with the Pooka are distinct from Irish folklore. Different regions and communities would have their interpretations of the Pooka and its behavior, and they would share them orally. Over the years, new Irish people have passed down the tales of Irish fairies. As a result, the Pooka remains a beloved figure in Irish folklore and popular culture. It continues to captivate the imagination of people around the world. In the Emerald Isle, November 1st holds a peculiar charm. It's Pooka's Day. On this day, the mystical creature steps into the limelight after the echoes of Samhain, October 31st, have faded away. Samhain is an ancient pagan festival that marks the end of autumn and the culmination of the harvest season. In the olden days, as winter came upon, farmers would fallow their fields, leaving behind the remnants of their harvest. Those were, as some believed, pookas and thus offerings to the entity. Some farmers would purposely leave stalks for the pooka, known as the pooka's share. This practice was to tame the pooka and avoid its anger. This age-old practice found echoes in modern Halloween customs. On the night of Samhain, people would leave offerings, typically food, to please the fairies and protect their homes. Today, this tradition translates into our trick-or-treat Halloween tradition. The Pooka's presence extends far beyond the realms of mythology, infiltrating various aspects of Irish culture. The Pooka actively influences Irish culture and traditions through its pervasive presence in folklore, literature, art, and celebrations. A central character in Irish folklore, the Pooka is featured in numerous stories passed down through generations. These tales continue to captivate audiences and are a big part of Irish oral tradition. People associate the Pooka with Samhain, the ancient Celtic festival that eventually evolved into Halloween. During Samhain, ancient Celts believed the Pooka and other mystical beings roamed the earth. Writers and artists draw inspiration from the creature's mystical and shape-shifting nature. Hence, the Pooka stars in their creative works, such as poetry and artwork. In literature, the Pooka represents unpredictability and mystery, showcasing its erratic behavior and ability to change form. The Pooka continues to be a popular character in modern media, including movies, television shows, and video games. The mischievous character Puck in Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream serves as a timeless literary embodiment of the Pooka. Its presence in popular culture keeps the legend alive, ensuring that the Pooka's enchanting tales continue to captivate hearts and minds. Through Irish literature, there are many encounters between humans and the Pooka. The encounter with the High King of Ireland, Brian Boru, is one of the most famous tales about this mythical creature. Legend says the king found a strange horse while traveling near the hill of Tara one night. Despite the warnings from his followers, Brian Boru decided to mount the horse. The horse, however, transformed into a Pooka and galloped off into the darkness, taking the king on a magical ride. The Pooka took the king on a journey that lasted 4 days, traveling across mountains, valleys, and even the seas. During their voyage, the magical creature revealed hidden truths about the land and its people to the king. The Pooka thanked King Brian Boru for his bravery, giving him its favor and protection when they returned to Tara. From that day on, the Pooka kept its promise and protected Brian Boru and his kingdom from various threats. This tale shows that the Pooka can be mischievous or kind.